Hi guys. So basically, I wanted to talk about appearance and perception and men and women and dating and all of that wrapped into one. The reason is right now my neighbor who's upstairs, um, somebody was ringing the doorbell I don't open the door if it's not for me. So I was like, hey, I think somebody's here for you. And he came down. He's like, wow, you look so different. You look so nice. And he was looking at me differently, and I was like, I know he has a girlfriend. I don't think anything of it, but it's just interesting how quickly men change. Like the last few weeks, my mother used to judge beauty pageants. So I know everything I need to do to be flawless and perfect. But I love my imperfections and I love being natural and normal. And I think you should love me regardless. So, like today, I'm getting ready to go out. I'm putting on my makeup. I maybe might put a track in my hair to lengthen it. Because that's what people want to see. And it's interesting that I've been doing a study for 10 years, right? When I looked flawless and I did all these little tips and tricks and things like that, all the attention I got. And then when I went to being an average normal girl who, looked like this with no makeup on, who left her hair natural every now and then, who just wore regular clothes, nothing fancy, um, how differently I was treated. Now, I still was treated well because of the way that I speak, the way that I stand, the way that I present myself. Uh, there's like a language in the way that you enter a room and you conduct yourself, right? So I still was treated well, but it wasn't the same attention, and I didn't get the same perks. Even though, like, after they got to know me, because I'm really good with people, then I got like the perks and stuff. But there's certain things that you get just because you're beautiful. There are certain advantages, and there's certain bonuses that come along with being pretty. And I feel that uh, trying to find a nice way to say it, that a lot of times we miss out on love and joy and happiness. We miss out on great friendships and relationships, and we miss out on business relationships, personal endeavors because of appearance. Because you look at someone and you judge them. And don't get me wrong, I'm the first one to say, well, what do you expect? They only can judge you on what they perceive. They don't know you, so they're going to look at you and they're going to judge you based on what they see. And based on that decision, and how society has stereotypes and whatnot, they're going to make a decision on you. And then, of course, if they get to know you and they'll see you in a different light, then they can see the real you. And I get that. But it's just been interesting. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Like, I feel like men are stupid. And so are women. Women are like, oh, I only want to date a bald guy with muscles and tattoos or whatever. Or, oh, I only want to date a rich guy. Like, I want to be a country club wife. So he has to make this amount of money. He has to have, he has to work in this type of field. He has to have this type of apartment. He has to come from this background, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, oh, I just want my man to be like, everybody's got their something, right? Men, very simple. They want a hot girl, beautiful, better than perfect, even if she's fake looking, but looking good. Or they're like, oh, but she has to look natural, even though she's wearing mascara, eyelashes, her hair is done and curled and crimped. That's not natural, but whatever. Makeup done. She's wearing like everything she needs to wear to get your attention. Her feet are killing her, but she's wearing the heels. She's got the little dress on. She's wearing her little Louis Vuitton, like whatever. I'm not saying that's what every guy's looking for. Some guys really like that wavy, skinny girl. Again, country club wife, certain background, certain type of education. Some people like that bad bitch hood rat girl. Some people like that bad boy hood rat boy. Some people like the criminal, and everyone understood that. Some people like a really educated, dorky person that's like down to earth and chill, but nobody notices, and together you're like low on the radar. But there's someone for everyone. Some people like the nerdy guy, the nerdy girl. Some people like the artist. Some people like the drama. But the one thing I've noticed is no matter what it is, majority of men go goo goo and gaga over pretty girls. And it's amazing to think what these women do to manipulate you guys, which is why I took that 10-year sabbatical. And I've just been observing people for 10 years. I've been observing very pretty women. I've been observing average women. I've been observing below average women, in categories of aesthetics, what society deems as beautiful. And that changes based on the state that you're in and the city that you're in. And your economic belt and a lot of different factors and what you've been exposed to in the world. Definition of beauty varies per person. But regardless, when a girl puts on her makeup and she might put on some fake hair or do something special to her hair, she puts on a nice little dress with some heels, and like, there's a difference. There's a way people treat you. I always tell people, I'm like, I clean up real nice. um, and I just wanted to let people know that you're missing out on a lot, because sometimes it's that average girl, or it's the girl that's a little bit heavier, or the nerdy girl, or the nerdy guy, or the guy that's a little bit heavier, or the guy that's really hairy, or the guy, that's covered in tattoos, that are the nicest people, and they'll make you the happiest. Um, Look for the soul, the mind, and the heart, because the outside you can change. We've seen all these movies about guys who pick the nerdy girl and then turn her into a beautiful popular girl. Same mind, same heart, same soul. So why are we looking at the outside? If we could change the outside so easily, why not look at the inside and then talk to your partner about jazzing it up? But then again, why don't you love them just the way they are? Everybody wants unconditional pure love. Everybody wants to find somebody that is going to be their best friend, that's going to love them no matter how, they smell or what they look like. They wake up in the morning. Everybody has morning breath. When you're sick, when your hair's a mess, when you want somebody to love you unconditionally no matter what, right? When you mess up, when you make a mistake, when things aren't going well, let's get through it together. Like, everybody wants that, right? And I understand that people do go for appearance because they're like, well, if they don't care about themselves, then they don't care about themselves. They can't care about me. Or at least I know if they're beautiful, they have good hygiene, they care about themselves, they're more likely to be to find the same things that I think are important. I get that. But there's a very high divorce rate in this country. And I think it's because we are looking at the wrong things when we're looking for a partner. People aren't dating and saying, can I see a future with this person? They're dating and they're saying, this person's hot. But they might not have all the characteristics that you want. I don't care, I just want to fuck them. Which totally blows my mind, because, maybe because I'm brainwashed from 13 years of Catholic school, but totally blows my mind how you could do that. Like, to this day, I've never looked across the room and said, I want that guy. Like, I've looked across the room and said, I want to get to know that guy. Let me see if they have a brain in their head and any interesting conversation. And if they don't, I'm more attracted by the mental stimulation than I am by the physical, don't get me wrong, I could look at a beautiful person and be like, Magic Mike, forget it. But that was never my thing. And I've seen people look at each other from across the room and go home together. And I'm like, oh, okay, just for you, whatever makes you happy, right? But those things don't generally work out. Sometimes they do. Sometimes you take someone home, you have a one-night stand, that's your wife for life, or husband for life. You never know. You never know. I don't know everything. I'm giving you just generalizations. But what I think people need to start doing, in my personal opinion, is look at the person's heart, look at their soul, and look at their mind. That shouldn't be secondary. It should be primary. Like, yeah, you might look at someone and be like, okay, you pass, you're hot, next. But people don't even go that far. And some people do. If you do, I'm not talking to you. Don't get mad. Just relax. It's not you I'm talking to. I'm talking to these other people that are very superficial. Because in the long run, when you're sick in the hospital, you want someone that's going to be by your side. When you're going through a rough time, you want someone that's going to hold you down and not throw it in your face. When you are suffering emotionally for whatever reason, you want someone that's going to understand you and stick by your side and not give up and quit because they don't get what you're going through. Rather, I will stand by you for a lifetime because I chose you and you chose me. Through thick, through thin, no matter what. If they become disfigured, they stay by your side. Look at your partner. If they were disfigured at this point, would you still be with them? You know, a lot of people tend to forgive beauty. No matter what they do, you forgive it because you're just so beautiful, you can't help it. And that's been brainwashed, you know, and I also think it's been inbred since caveman times. You know, you're always looking attracted to something. Um, but I feel that relationships would last longer if you really look at the person's heart, soul, and mind from the beginning and decide what kind of future do I want with this person and can I see a future with them. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it just happens. It just grows, you know, from a friendship or from a relationship at work or, you know, some type of interaction, you know, and then you see that characteristic in someone and then you decide you want to be with them. Or you see them while you're dating and you realize you do or you don't want to be with them. But I think people would have more success in dating if they were looking for these qualities. Again, a lot of people hide things because they don't want to let everything out of the bag or because they don't want to share anything with you until they get to know you more. That I completely understand. But I notice how differently I'm treated, how many more numbers I get, how many more people talk to me, how much more attention that I get when I wear a dress and I do my hair and I put my makeup on and okay, fine, whatever, I look good, but like I'm the same person, same heart, same soul, same mind. And they don't even know how amazing I really am and what it is that I do for the world and what it is that I do for society and people. And, you know, like once you get to know that, it's like, where have you been all my life, you know? Um, but everybody has that in them. And when you find the right person, they build you into the greatness that you are. You know, they help you get to that point. And like when you find somebody that you can be yourself with and confident with, and you guys build each other up, like, you know, the Obamas, they build each other up and they're there for each other. And that's why they're successful. Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, they never worked out with anybody else until they met each other. They built each other up, and together they built an empire. You know, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, they build each other up and they help each other in their endeavors. Um, you know, and then we have people in our lives. I'm sure you know people in your life that have beautiful marriages, beautiful relationships, some success stories because they find each other and they build each other up. They make each other better. And I'm sure we all know couples also that are very destructive. That you're like, why are they still together? And obviously they love each other, but they're just destructive and they're not moving forward and they're not getting anything done because they're destructive with each other. Um, you know, and sometimes people are cheating because their spouse no longer looks the way they used to when they first met and they're, you know, really attracted to that. Or they're going through a rough time in their relationship. You know, cheating's unacceptable. Work with what you got at home. Don't worry about what's going on anywhere else. Fix your home and you'll be fine. You'll always have a roof over your head. You'll always have love. You'll always have devotion. Fix what's going on at home. You don't need to go anywhere else. You chose somebody, then you guys work it out together and you build your home into what you want it to be. And it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be worth it. You know, there's nothing more beautiful than looking back 50 years from now and knowing that you spent an entire lifetime with one person and together you've persevered through everything and you've created what it is, whatever it is that you guys have created together, versus looking back and being like, I was with 26 different people. You know what I mean? And none of them lasted. And I learned a little bit from everyone. Like everybody's story is different. Some people might like that. I'm not going to, you know, judge them or whatever. But I just feel that every single person in the world respects and admires a long-lasting relationship. And a lot of times before we start dating, that's what everybody wants. You know, unless you saw a dysfunctional family and you're like, I don't want that. You know, but when you see beautiful love and relationships and this marriage and you know what it is to see a good loving couple, that's what you want. So then why does that change when you're dating? Where does it go from I want to be with one person for the rest of my life, I want to be with my best friend. You know, you don't date somebody to be like, oh, I'm going to date her and her. Guys are like, oh, I like her. And then you want to be with that person for a while because you really like them, right? And girls are like that in high school too. And then it may or may not work out. And then you move on. And then, so when does it go from that to, oh, I don't want to be with anybody. I just want to date. I just want to fuck around. I just want to have fun. Who and people can argue with me, but who convinced you that that was cool and that was okay when in the beginning, when you were growing up, well, I didn't know. In the beginning, when you were growing up, because I could just imagine people telling me, like, I didn't know. Now I know. Now I want to experiment and see. Um, in the beginning, you just wanted to be with one person. And you were so excited to be with that person. You wanted to have a relationship with that person. And you wanted to see what it was like to hold hands and kiss and to go to the park and to go on dates and to do all these things. And then when you're older, you go on one date and you dismiss the person. Why did you go on the date with them? If they weren't somebody that you could see yourself and you wanted to do all these things with, why are you dating them? How desperate are you that you're just going out with people just to see, well, you never know, I'll see him, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. But when you were younger, you knew who you liked and who you didn't like. Why did that change? And when you were younger, it wasn't about beauty. When you were younger, you just liked somebody for who they were, and just hanging out with them and how comfortable you felt. And it wasn't about the beauty. The beauty came later, when girls started doing their makeup. I mean, now, of course, these little girls, they develop so much quicker. But all that beauty stuff came, in the teens and the 20s when people started. But before that, you looked at the person for who they were, what they stood for, what they said, how they made you feel, if you guys got along, if you guys cracked up. When did that change? How about everybody take an internal examination and figure that out? And then look at everybody that you dated in the last few years. If you're single and if you're married, this video is not for you, but maybe not, I don't know. Fell in love with your high school sweetheart. I know that anybody that I know that's been together since high school is grateful that they didn't break up, because they look at all their friends that are single and they're like, I'm so happy we didn't have to go through that. I'd rather go through everything with you than to go through what they're going through, being single at this time, dating all these people. And you know what? I agree with them. 100%. I would rather go through life with one person and deal with everything together and look back and be like, yo, I'm so happy we persevered and we made it happen, regardless of the odds, regardless of the tough times. Like, it was you and me against the world, and we did it. We built an empire, and we helped people, and, we showed everybody what love is, and we inspired people to stay together and make it work. And, I think that's beautiful for me. And I understand that there's all types of people, polyamorous, monogamous, not monogamous, swingers. Dude, high five. I've learned about all this stuff my whole life. Juice by you. If you have a harmonious relationship with all those people in your life, and everyone's at peace and happy, great. But if your lifestyle is then causing someone pain, because either you weren't clear, or they lied to get you, or whatever, I have a problem with that. And this video is basically just to tell people, like, look at the person like you were a teenager. Like, oh, they're cool. I like hanging out with them. I like talking to them. They're nice. They're sweet. They're funny. Oh, they're kind of pretty. Like, I could, they're easy on the eyes. Or, I could work with that because I like them. We didn't look at people like they're hot, they're not hot, they're cute. It was, maybe some people did. It was just basically like, I like this person. And then you took it from there. So, I encourage people to get to know each other and like people because you like them. And everyone's probably like, that's what I do anyway. No, it's not. Dating in New York is different from dating all over the world, because in New York, it's all about what you look like, where you live. Because if you're too far, I'm not taking the train to hang out with you. If you're all the way uptown and I'm downtown, like, this isn't working. That's not me, because I have a car, so I don't care. I travel for love. But people don't do that. They're just like, oh, this is too inconvenient. No, thank you. Yeah, they miss out on great opportunities and great love because they're already dismissing them. There's too many things that knock a person out. And it has nothing to do with their heart, their mind, or their soul. And that's all I'm saying. Stop disqualifying people without realizing these three things. Because sometimes you disqualify someone who could have loved you perfectly, the way that you needed to be loved. They just needed to learn you. And they had that love in their heart for you. And they had that love in their heart all the time. They were just looking for the right person to love. And I just wanted to share that with people, because I've been having these conversations all over the holidays. Everyone keeps asking me why I'm single and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to tell you guys, but I know there's a purpose, there's a reason. And I've been having these conversations with people, and a lot of single people are looking for love. And this is what I've noticed in New York specifically. I'm not talking about the Midwest. I'm not talking about LA. Everything's different in different places. But in New York specifically, I found that everything is based on how you look, where you live, and how much money you make. And those are great things to look at overall, because it's hard to be with someone who's not financially where you are. I get it. It's hard to be with someone where you have to commute all the time because it takes time away from your life. Um, but at some point, if it's the right person and you're commuting, at some point you'll be living together and you won't be commuting anymore. So you're working towards something. But if you're not willing to commute, it's because you already know that person's not for you. Financially, I get it, because it's annoying to carry somebody that you're not sure you're going to have a future with. But if you're sure you're going to have a future with them, you don't mind it. You don't mind holding someone down until they get on their feet, because you understand that when they get on their feet, they're going to be working with you to build something together. Then it makes it worth it. But just to do that for someone who's just going to leave you for someone better when they get back on their feet, not worth it. You know, God rips people like that out of your life. And you know, when he does, let it go. God knows who to keep in your life, and God knows who to take out, whether you believe in God or not. I'm sharing that with you. People will come back into your life when they're meant to be in your life, because they're meant to be in your life. And if they're not, don't question it. Just keep it moving. You know, just always have an open heart. You know, love people. Always leave the door open if you care about someone. But you can't chase somebody and make them love you. You shouldn't have to. Love should be free. It should be reciprocated. It should be open and loving. You know? And I think a lot of us don't even get to that point, because we're already knocking people down because they're not hitting certain things on our list that have nothing to do with the mind, the soul, and the heart. They have to do with other things, exterior things. You know, when you love somebody enough, the facts don't count. Because together, you make the impossible possible. So I hope you guys find somebody special in the next few months if you're single. And I hope that, and something I said helped some people. If you have a negative remark, keep it to yourself. You know, nobody cares. I don't care. If you have anything negative to say about me, I'm just going to delete it. And then I just hope that you guys start to look at people's souls. Because when you look at someone's soul, if you can ever get to that point, you see beauty beyond beauty. You see life in a different way, and you see your partner in a different way. And it's an amazing spiritual connection when your soul and someone else's soul connect, versus it just being aesthetic or like a checklist, because that's going to fade when the person no longer meets your criteria. So I'm not saying don't have standards, but you know, there are deeper things that you should be looking at, because everybody's physical aspects or things that they're going through, their life changes, and the thing that keeps you together is that connection of the soul, the body, and the heart. That's what keeps you going through the tough times when everyone's like, why are you still with that person? And then you get past that tough time, whether it's a year or 5 years, 7 years, and then all of a sudden you go right back to the way it was and everything is good because you got past those hard times. But what should have kept you together was that love from your heart, your soul, and your mind. Not the way you look, how much money you make, and, you know, where you live. That's all I'm saying.